the Business of Apps podcast. We invite app industry professionals to cover various topics, and we promise to do our best to keep it both insightful and brief. In this episode, we have Yeva Koldovska, Product Manager at Headway. Yeva, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Hi Art, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Terrific, thank you for coming. All right, we're going to move forward with setting the stage first. A busy life of an app marketer is full of problems. You don't need me to tell you this. But here is a special one that you may stumble upon. How can you do both at the same time? Truly care about your app users' needs, making their life easier, and meet your financial bottom line. I'm really glad if you already know the answer, or you never encountered this dichotomy. Great, kudos to you. But if you do, on this episode we will help you to resolve it. But before we dive in, Yeva, let's kick off with talking about you. What is your background?
Sure. I'm Yeva Koldovska, Product Manager at Headway. I'm from Ukraine. I live in Kyiv right now. I have a degree in computer science and my background is in data analytics. I joined Headway more than 4 years ago and have seen and experienced our scaling from 15 people to more than 300 firsthand. I'm passionate about everything related to growth, be it personal growth, professional growth, product growth. I love A/B testing, experimentation, challenges, building products, but also I love reading books, playing chess, and doing some sports.
I can feel that you're really passionate about what you're doing. It's really great to see somebody who's doing something that he's passionate about. It means it's not really your work; it's a journey, right?
Yeah, I truly believe that.
Okay, now tell me more about Headway.
Sure. Headway is an edtech company with Ukrainian roots that creates micro-learning products. Why we do it, what is our mission? It is to help people grow by making the best ideas accessible and crafting enjoyable products. We have started with the one flagship product, which was Headway, the Headway app. This is the most downloaded book summary app in the world. We provide book summaries for busy adults, which help them grasp key ideas from the best books in the world in just 15 minutes in an audio format or a text format. After that, we've expanded to an ecosystem of microlearning apps. There's also Impulse app, which is the most downloaded brain training app in the world. Also Nibble, which is the product that I work on the most, an all-around knowledge app with short, interactive lessons that help you understand the world better in topics like art, history, finance, math, statistics, logic, etc. Our products have been downloaded by more than 110 million people worldwide.
My hat goes off to you guys for bringing the apps that actually improves our lives. We have enough of apps to, take pictures and apply a bunch of filters. We need stuff to make us more educated, to help us, grasp complex concepts and be ready for tackling the problems we all face as the civilization on this planet. And I'm busy adult, but fortunately, I have time to pick up books more for myself on my Kindle app. But still, I do see the value in the app like Headway for some folks who have less free time as I have, or not that lucky to be able to, pick something new and interesting, and they need some guidance and a quick summary. Okay, why this particular one is great for you. Great. Now, first things first, let's introduce the notion of empathy-based onboarding. What is it?
We came up with this idea at Headway. For context, we were faced with a kind of a dichotomy, which I think is it's really common for marketing and product teams in our industry. On the one hand, your creating products to help people, to make their lives better, and you want your experience to be a pleasant one, right? You want to be honest with your user, to connect with them, to build a real trust, and to really provide some value. But on the other hand, you're building a business. So you have your business goals and metrics like conversion rates, revenue, and without those, you will soon run out of money and you will not be able to build any product, great or not. So you have to often choose what you optimize for. And if you start optimizing for the business goals, it is often quite detrimental to the user's needs and to their experience. So that's where the dilemma arises. What do you choose and how do you balance those needs of the user, their emotions, experiences, and your business goals? And we found a way to build effective onboarding flows specifically with the approach of empathy-based onboarding to kind of find the balance of creating a great experience for the user and boosting conversion rates, which is empathy-based onboarding.
You know, quite frankly, it strikes me as odd that we actually need to remind people that empathy should be a part of communication. For me, it's just giving. In some rare instances, it may be irrelevant, but for the most part, it should be naturally part of the communication of a brand with customers. Now, how does empathy based onboarding help balance user experience with business goals like conversion and revenue?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And empathy is one of the most important things for me as well in the products that I use, in the people that I talk to. And if you try to search for the definition of empathy, it is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So, of course, you cannot share the feelings of millions of users. It will be too hard for you, but you can at least try to understand them and help them with your product. So the idea of an empathy-based onboarding, the hypothesis which lies behind it, goes like this. By being empathetic towards your user and their needs, you establish a connection with them during the funnel, even before they are able to use your product as intended. You are empathetic towards them, and the user feels heard and accepted. And you may know from your own personal life that when you're feeling heard and accepted, it is easier to hear the other person out or hear the product out. And users get more receptive to the value of your product, and it's easier just to convince them to buy. So it's like a mutual connection that is established during the funnel. On the one hand, the user feels accepted and the user understands that you know what they're feeling and your product can help solve their problem. And on your side, you get higher conversion rates and a better understanding of your users. So the three main steps to building an empathy-based onboarding flow are simple but not easy. So the first one is identify the user's feelings. The second one is to acknowledge those feelings. And the third one is to offer a solution. If you do it right, in a kind of a loop, you create a pleasant user experience while also boosting conversion rates.
Can you share an example of how it works, probably using your own apps? Like, how did you guys apply this concept to your own applications?
Yeah, of course. So let's take the first step, identify feelings. There are a ton of ways to do that, from just asking questions to doing user research to forming your own hypothesis. Let's take, for example, forming your own hypothesis. Let's say you have a drop in conversion rate on the email step on the web funnel. So the user has went through the questions or the screens, and then they have to input their email. What might the user be feeling at the moment, right? What would you feel at the moment? Maybe a bit anxious, maybe unsure if the website won't send you a ton of spam messages over the next day or week. Maybe you would be scared about your data being leaked or given to some third parties. So you kind of form those hypotheses on what the user might be feeling, and this is the first step. The next one is to acknowledge those feelings. What you could do there is just say directly. We understand it can be maybe scary to input your email address. You don't know us, of course. And then you offer a solution. You say that we will not share your data with other parties, only with those that are necessary. Please take a look at our, I don't know, terms and conditions. And also you can say, we commit to sending you less than 2 emails per week, for example. So the user already knows that their concerns will be irrelevant. That's one example. The other example is asking questions, which is my favorite one in work and in life. To identify what the user is feeling or what the other person is feeling, you just ask. It may seem a bit counterintuitive because the traditional wisdom of building effective onboarding flows tells you that you have to shorten your time to value. You have to make it as easy and as quick a setup as you can. But actually, the cost of asking some questions can really be outweighed by the benefits. So, for example, what we do on our onboarding flows is ask superficial questions, ask deeper questions, like what are your learning goals? When do you like to learn? What are some topics that interest you? And also, for example, are you afraid to make mistakes during learning? Are you intimidated by deadlines, etc.? And as a result, you get to know more about your users. You get more opportunities for personalization inside the product. And also, it invokes a kind of a sunk cost fallacy, which is when you've inputted a lot of information about yourself, you've spent some time, and then it's just harder to drop off. Yeah, you're more committed to finishing the process that you've started. And as for some data, when we tested those ideas, adding more questions, responding dynamically to what the user answers, we got more than a 81% boost in conversion rates on our funnels, which is amazing.
You know, Yeva, as you're describing your approach, it really reminds me of the book that I read years ago, written by Guy Kawasaki. He used to be an evangelist in Apple back in the 80s, like the very, like the first blooming of Apple. And the book that tells you the concept of, he calls it an enchantment, but essentially it's about your approach to doing business through empathy, to building a rapport with the other party. Like the basic premise is this: if you can be friends with somebody, you can make business with these people. So you have to build a relationship first, and then you can do business and expect to be trusted, and you can really expect that business relationship to be long term. Now, how do you scale empathy-based onboarding as Headway grows?
So we've tried utilizing this framework for most of our products, and we have never had an unsuccessful test in this regard. But of course, you have to understand that it depends on the area, on the product, on the offering that you have to your users. So I would not say that this approach is a silver bullet that helps everyone. It works really well for our industry, for education, and we do think that it also works for many levels, for the funnel as a whole and for each screen separately. So what we did in the beginning was look at the whole funnel and try to find the most impactful places where we could utilize this concept and gain results. But right now we try to use it on every screen of our apps, everywhere, not only on the onboarding flows. I also think that empathy is relevant for everyone in life. We've talked about that today. And understanding and responding to your users' feelings will always be useful for them, for you. And it's not about tricking someone, it's about building real connections with the users. And also, what I would like to highlight as well is that it could be really beneficial for content-based products like Headway products are. So all of our apps right now, Headway, Impulse, Nibble, they are based on content. And when you have a lot of content, you have to find ways to um, to show the user relevant content, the most relevant to their needs, to their knowledge level, to their interests, and even learning styles. So when you try to understand the users better, you have so many opportunities then to provide a better experience for them beyond the onboarding flow. So that's what we're trying to do with this data, with this knowledge as well.
I think you just answered my follow-up question because I was about to ask you how do you guys manage to introduce new features, uh, keeping happy your existing users, and bring something for new users who are just onboarding to the app. Empathy is kind of a common denominator for everybody, and it it helps you to keep everybody happy. It doesn't matter if that person has been using the app for a while or he just new to the app. It's something that needs to everybody. It just makes us, yeah, it puts us on the same ground. Now, we just finished the major topic at the table, and because you're a newcomer on the show, it's your first time, here comes the second part, where I ask a few quick questions so we can know you a little bit better. Kind of a quick portrait. Okay, so what smartphone do you have now? Have you been switching between iOS or an Android, or just staying one side all the time?
I'm using an Apple iPhone right now, and actually, my three previous smartphones have been by Apple. But before that, I've been using Android phones. But I found that iOS is just much more convenient for me personally, and I like the design principles behind it. And I love that it integrates with other Apple products really well, like AirPods, MacBook, etc. So I'm definitely hooked on the Apple ecosystem, as many of us are.
Yeah, ecosystem, that's the key concept here, to keep you on board all the time. Now, let's jump on a time machine, go back in time. What was your first mobile phone, like ever first one you could put in your pocket? Like, doesn't matter if it was a smartphone or just, flip phone.
Yeah, it was actually a flip phone. It was small and pink. It was very cute. I think it was a Samsung X670 model. It also had an external display on the front when it was closed. I loved it so much. I felt so cool when I walked around with this smartphone. And it also had a kind of a band to put around your wrist and never lose it, which was really cool.
Priorities have definitely changed. We used to fight for phones to be smaller and smaller and smaller, and these days we're kind of moving the opposite direction. Um, Now, imagine for whatever reason you left your smartphone at home, you're out for go for groceries, for any reasons. You're out, your phone is at home. What would be the most missing feature for you?
Well, apart from utility features like messaging apps, a calendar, social media, etc., I think I would really miss my music. I love playing something fun as I walk or as I do chores or work, and I find that it boosts my mood so much. So I would really miss it, but maybe it could be a great opportunity for me to meditate and to think about something else, because yeah, music helps to boost your mood, but sometimes it's better to stay silent.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Spotify for me, but actually I don't know right now. I think Spotify was a definite leader a few years ago, but right now I heard very, very promising reviews about other apps, so I don't know right now. What about you?
For me, it's been Apple Music for a while. I tried Spotify a couple of times, primarily when I was launching the podcast, just to see what's going on the platform, but never use it as the app to listen to music. I think I was sold on Apple Music from the day one, and went through all iterations, starting with just buying tunes, separate tunes or albums back in the day when streaming just didn't exist, and then transitioned to streaming, and yeah, this is how it's been going for me. Um, what new technologies are you most excited or waiting for your phone? Hardware, software, not necessarily some trendy or flashy features, but anything that would make that smartphone a better tool for you?
hmm Maybe my answer is obvious, but AI. I'm really excited about the prospects of AI integration. It is actually my topic from the university. I had a specialization in AI, so I've always been interested in it. I'm really excited about it helping me with my daily tasks. This is the first priority to get more of my mental processing power to myself, to, not try to keep in mind everything that I have to keep in mind. But I'm also really intrigued by an opportunity for health apps to use AI to provide better insights about your health, your wellness, sleep patterns, food, sports. I'm really excited about that. So I think it could be super useful. And in terms of education, I think that extreme personalization could be useful there as well. Um, right now, the best ways to learn, in my mind, um, to my mind. The best ways to learn are your best learning style, the topics that are interesting to you, and the topics that are relevant to your life. And it's hard to do that when you're trying to build a course or a lesson for a class or a massive audience. And AI, for example, can help with building a custom learning experience for you.
I brought that example before, and I think I'm going to do it again for AI. One of my favorite physicists, Brian Greene, in one of the interviews, brought up this concept that you can use AI as the best tutor for math. Because in his experience, if you teach somebody math, one of the hardest problems for you as a teacher to make sure you can break down a concept that's really complex to the constituents to small blocks that will be comprehensible to that specific person. And that's one of the challenges that is the hardest one. And many teachers just fail in this on this task, but it is something that AI can do really well. And for every student, it can take a slightly different approach and make it work for him or for her. So yeah, definitely hear what you're saying about education. That's a great application.
And also, AI has a ton of patience and it never runs out. So it can explain and explain and explain until you understand.
Absolutely, it's not going to tell you it's over. I have to go home. See you, next week, and etc. That's the beauty of the of the machine. Um, my final question would be this: how can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Absolutely. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It would be best. I'll share the link so we can put it in the description. I'll be glad to connect. You can write and ask me anything.
Terrific. Thank you for coming, Yeva. It was great to spend this time with you and being on the show. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And that was Yeva Koldovska, product manager at Headway. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you will be able to get new episodes of this show on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.